It just ensures to me that you at least filled this out, and it'll probably help you very much on the test, okay? So I'm going to pull up the notes, and I'm going to go through this with you. Okay. All right, so I'm going to actually start with head of state, okay? Well, actually, before that, let me tell you a little bit about the test. I'm probably going to change it a little bit, but generally what you're going to be looking at for the test is I have 10 matching. Okay, these would be like terms that you're looking at there, and then your terms that you did for the assignment, if you did that, that's something really good to look over as well. Okay, is those 27 terms that you did, if you did them. Okay, fill in the blank. There are 1, 2, 3, 8. Fill in the blank. Okay. Multiple choice, I have 11. Probably going to add to that, and then a long answer, which you can see at the bottom of your review sheet. Okay, so there's no surprise there, and we'll talk about that kind of at the end today. Okay. Good. All right. Let's see. Okay. All right, so starting with head of state. Okay, that's something we talked about yesterday at the end. Okay. And when we were talking about presidential systems versus parliamentary systems. And so in a presidential system, the president is both chief executive and head of state. Okay. Where it says that right here. Okay, president is both. So the leader of the country, ceremonial figurehead of the country, is the head of state. The figurehead of the state, of the country. Okay. In a parliamentary system, okay, this way. Okay, the head of state is different than the prime minister. Okay, it's more ceremonial. They don't really have any power. Okay, so like the Queen is the head of state in a parliamentary system. Okay, where the president is the leader of our country, the Queen is the leader of England as a figurehead, although she doesn't have a lot of power. Does that make sense? Okay. Monarchy. Okay. Now, this is a hereditary position. Okay. Now, in a true monarchy, is it going to be ruled by one? Yeah, right? It's ruled by one. So a monarchy is an autocracy, ruled by one. But it's a hereditary position that you're born into. We talk about public good. Another term for that is public interest. It's public interest. Okay. One of the things the government likes to do is look out for the public good. Okay, so chief executive. Okay, when you hear chief executive, you think executive branch, the chief of the executive branch, okay? So the head of the executive branch, okay? So when we go back to the end again, okay, the chief executive runs the day-to-day affairs of the country, okay? Chief executive runs the day-to-day affairs. In our system, they carry out the law, they execute the law, okay? In our system, the president is the chief executive. And then again, in the parliamentary system, the chief executive is usually called something like prime minister or premier, okay, in a parliamentary system. Okay, John Locke, English philosopher. Believed in natural rights. Natural rights. Objective truth. Okay, so you had Hobbes, like we talked about Locke and Hobbes, okay, where Hobbes thought people were, evil, subjective, selfish, okay. Locke felt that people were inherently good, so that we could trust that they would be able to govern themselves. And then the next one is the 5 functions of government. Oops. So that might appear in a multiple choice question where you have to pick the one that is not like the other. Which one of these is not like the other? Remember that from Sesame Street? Good? Okay. Next one. Social contract. Okay. Social contract is an agreement between people and government. An agreement between people and government. So Hobbes believed that we needed a strong government to control people like a monarchy. And Locke believed we needed representative democracy. We could, govern ourselves. Federal system. Okay. So one I asked you to put a star next to. Sharing or division of powers between national, state, and local governments. You get that? Sharing of power between national, division of power between national, state, and local. Okay. Someone will be talking about it all year, all semester. And then down to presidential system. Okay. Key thing here, remember that our executive branch and legislative branch are separate. Okay, the people elect the president, not the legislature, not parliament, not Congress. The people elect the president. Okay, they're separate. You can't be in both. I told the story about Obama. When Obama was elected, he was in the Senate. He had to give up that seat to become president. Can't be in both. Just like Kamala Harris. If Biden wins, she's a U.S. Senator. She'll have to give up that seat in California. Speaking of Biden-Harris, tonight, Fox News, 8 o'clock, first presidential debate. Okay. And I'm going to be posting a little extra credit for watching the debate. Now, you don't have to watch tonight because I know some of you are going to be busy with work and other things, but I'll make it due Thursday. So you'll have Wednesday to pull it up on YouTube or whatever and watch it. One of the really interesting parts for me is to watch the after the debate, and I'll go over to like CNN and watch their reaction to the debate, and then I'll go over to Fox News and watch their reaction to the debate. It's like they watch two different debates. Okay, they're like, because they're all pulling for their person. You know what I mean? Now, some commentators are honest about it, but most are not. Okay, so that's, for me, that's kind of a fun thing to watch. I don't know if you heard me talk about this yesterday, but the expectations for Joe Biden of him performing really well, are they there? Or are there low expectations for Biden, right? So if you set the expectations really low and he does okay, then in the eyes of some, that's a victory, right? I think most people expect Trump to win the debate, but he's got to be careful about how he comes off. Okay. Trump needs to connect with women. Really, he needs to connect with white suburban women. That's who he's losing. Okay, from last time. Okay. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. I'm excited to watch it. Okay. And I hope you are too. I hope you'll watch it. Okay, so presidential system, representative democracy. Just, you know, with this presidential system, guys, just remember, okay, this is what we use. The president is both chief executive, head of state, okay, and that these two are separate. All right, representative democracy. Oh, democracy. Yeah, republics, okay. Republics are representative democracies, okay, so you can write republics, and then we elect people to make decisions for us, okay. Show you this real quick. Okay, this is Kansas, all right, and we have 4 members of the House of Representatives. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, yeah, something like that. No, we're 4. We're 4. Sorry. I knew that didn't look right. 4, 2, 3. Okay. So each one of these districts has about 780,000 people in it. Okay, so when every 10 years we have to redraw this map to try and get the same number of people in each district. Okay. We live in the 4th district. Okay, so our representative is Ron. Anyone? Ron, not Rand Paul. Ron Estes. Okay, you don't need to know that for the test. But what I'm saying here is that, you know, we elect him. This is where we live in Kansas. He goes to Washington, D.C. and represents us. And we get to vote for this person every 2 years, okay, in the House of Representatives. That make sense? Okay. And then Kansas has 2 senators that represent the whole state. Okay. So we have 6 total members of Congress, 6 electoral college votes. Got it? That's okay. All right. So representative democracy, that's what we use. Okay. We send people from where we live to Washington to represent us. Okay. And then also, okay, just while I'm talking about it, our capital is Topeka, right? So we send people from our neighborhoods, a bunch of little districts in here, okay, to go to Topeka to represent us. Okay. And there's a Senate in Topeka and a House in Topeka as well. So we elect both of those. Most people don't know who the state representatives are. But yours are different than mine because we live in different neighborhoods. Okay. So I live near Bel Air. You know where Bel Air is? Peacheye. Northeast. All right. Next. Constitutional monarchy. Okay, this is what Britain has. Do I have that in there? Okay, yeah, constitutional. So this is like parliamentary system, right? The king or the queen is the ceremonial head of state. The power lies with the Constitution. Okay, the real power lies elsewhere in the government, usually with the parliament and the prime minister. So these are countries like Japan that have an emperor, but the emperor has no power. They have a monarchy, but they have no power. The Constitution gives the power to somebody else. Or in a true monarchy, they rule. One person rules. Everybody sees the difference? Okay. Okay, unitary system. I don't know why, but people always seem to get this wrong on the test. But, okay. This is where all power is found at the national government level. Okay. Remember, there's 3 types here: unitary, federal, and confederal. We use the federal system. Most countries use the unitary system. What is Zello? What? Okay. Never mind. All right. Sovereignty. Have a definition in here. Basically, it means the right to rule. Sovereignty, the right to rule. Yeah, I have it on the first page here. Oh. Okay. The absolute authority to rule over members of their citizens is sovereignty. Absolute authority over members of a state or citizens is called sovereignty. Okay. Back to the end. Parliamentary systems. Oh. Okay, so in these, prime minister is elected by the legislature. So remember, the executive and the legislature are tied together. I did this in the lecture yesterday. In order to become prime minister, must be a member of parliament. Okay? You've got to be in parliament to become prime minister because they elect you. And then, of course, the head of state and the chief executive are two different people. You know what the British refer to their flag as? They call this flag Union Jack. That's what they refer to their flag as, the Union Jack. Okay. Anarchy is one I don't think I have. Question? Yes. Anarchy. I don't have a definition for this on there, okay? So I'm going to give you a definition. Absence of rules or government. Anarchy. Absence of rules or government. Basically meaning there is no government. There are no rules. It's anarchy. Like the purge. It's chaos. Seen the purge? It's anarchy. The symbol of anarchy. Okay. Sometimes there's like that egg comes. So a lot of these Antifa people, you know Antifa, Antifa? Oh my gosh. Antifa? It's a whole world out there that you're just not seeing. Okay. It's okay, I guess. But you guys got to get on Twitter or something. You got to get on some news. All right. Oligarchy. Oligarchy simply means rule. Rule by a few. Rule by a few. So I use the example of China, where the Communist Party, which there's very small number of people in the Communist Party, they choose the leader. The other 1.275 billion people of China don't get to vote. Only the members of the Communist Party get to vote. So they rule. Does that make sense? Okay. Totalitarian. Okay, extreme cases, dictatorships that rule through force. Rule with an iron fist. They control every aspect of life. Totalitarian. Okay. Totalitarian, and moving on to dictatorship. Okay. So at the top there, power concentrated in the hands of a single person or small group. Okay? Dictatorships only answer to themselves. Okay? Power concentrated in the hands of a single person or small group. Good? All right, let's see. Confederal, confederal. Okay, independent states join together for common goals. The power stays with state and local governments. Right? And then autocracy, ruled by one. And then democracy, ruled by, the Greek says, ruled by the people. I got dictatorship on there twice. Government, give you a best basic definition here. Principles of democracy. I think this is in your book, Principles of Democracy. I don't know if I had it in the notes. Key principles. Let's write those down. All right. Pretty basic. Worth of the individual. Rule of law. Majority rule. Minority rights. Compromise. And citizen participation. These are principles of democracy. Okay, real quick, let me explain this, okay? I mean, the basic, if we're going to govern ourselves, then every individual has value, every individual has worth, okay? That's just something we recognize in a democratic system, okay? Without law, you don't have rule of law, you have breakdown of society, okay? Majority rule, minority rights. Now, this is an important one, okay? If we're in a direct democracy where 51% of the voters, we vote on everything. So we get the phones and, okay, today we're going to vote on, whether we're going to go to war and to preserve Taiwan or the Ukraine, okay? We're going to vote on that, okay? That would be a true democracy. We don't live in that. We have a representative democracy, okay? In a true democracy, 51% of people could destroy the other 49. If they were angry at the other 49%, they could destroy them. In a true democracy, you think French Revolution here, okay? So, yes, we have majority rule, but we protect minority rights, okay, with the Constitution. Okay, so we have the Bill of Rights, we have laws that protect minorities and so forth. Okay, so majority rule, minority rights is an important function of democratic systems, okay? Compromise just means really in a democratic system when you have different opinions, okay, in order to get something done, you need sometimes, I'll give up a little bit, you give up a little bit, we'll compromise, work it out. Okay, and then without citizen participation, democratic systems don't work. I mean, that's what I have that picture of Ben Franklin up here, which says, a republic, if you can keep it. Okay, if we don't participate, then others will make decisions for us. And it doesn't work, okay? All right, totalitarian, I got that on there twice. Majority rule is 51%, or half plus one is majority rule. In our system, most decisions are made by majority rule, okay? So a vote in Congress, whoever has the most votes, the majority of votes, okay? The Electoral College, whoever wins the majority of the Electoral College seats wins. Okay, so that's how we do things in our system. Okay. All right, and then last, this. Okay, so when you're writing about Locke, okay, discuss the beliefs of John Locke on civil government and its influence upon the U.S. Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. Okay, so with this key word here, natural rights, okay? John Locke believes that we're born with God-given rights, okay? That every human being has the right to life, liberty, and property, okay? He says that governments that do not secure these rights may be changed, overthrown, okay, and have an obligation to change your government, a new social contract. Okay, and I want you to think about the American Revolution here. Okay, we were under British control. The British were destroying our rights. They were searching homes illegally. They were putting their soldiers in people's homes. That's called quartering of soldiers. They were restricting our trade with other countries. They were abusing us. Okay, they were taxing us without giving us a say. All right, and these were things we objected to. When we asked for redress, when we asked for them to fix this, they ignored us. Okay, so that they were not securing these rights. We're going to enter back into a state of nature, which is the revolution, war. We're going back into nature. We're going to fight so that we can set up a new social contract. New social contract. One that makes us happy. Okay, one that secures our rights. Okay, these governments, these contracts that we set up rely on the consent of the people, the government. Not a divine right from God saying that they get to rule over us, that we get to decide. Okay, so the legitimacy of government comes from the people, not God. Okay, so what impact did that have on the Declaration of Independence? Well, if we go to this next slide, okay, we have, who wrote this Declaration? Thomas Jefferson. You might want to mention that. Okay, you got John Locke. Who studied John Locke? Thomas Jefferson did. Okay, Jefferson said that we have, all men are created equal. We have unalienable rights given to us by our God, our Creator. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. He changed it up a little bit, okay? To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. They get, so it sounds just like Locke, getting their powers from the people, the government. And when a government becomes destructive, doesn't secure these natural rights, it's the right of the people to alter and abolish it, okay? Which basically Jefferson is using Locke in the Declaration of Independence as a philosophy to say we have the right to separate from Great Britain. We have the right to our own self-determination, to make our own government, to secure our rights. Okay? And it's beautifully written. It's an important statement for all human beings. The Declaration of Independence inspires people in other countries, not just our country. This document is one of the most famous documents ever written because of the truths that it puts forward. Okay? So that's why it's really celebrated. Okay? Other people in other countries study this. They study our declaration. Okay? So it's a great document. And we should be very grateful that we have it. And one day, I hope that never happens, one day we may have to use it again. Okay? All right. So, any questions? With the test, guys, you'll come in, turn in your review sheets, okay? I'll put in 5 points for you, and then I'll hand out the test. It'll be a paper test. You'll write on the test, okay? And then when you're done, you'll turn it in, and if you got any, it won't take super long for you to do. You'll turn it in, and I will grade it. All right? So that'll be Friday for you guys. All right. You guys shoot me a message if you have any questions. I'll gladly respond.